Welcome to Latina Mic Drop, the podcast where you can show up and show out, where bold moves are not only encouraged but the standard. This is where excellence meets simplicity and common sense. I'm Miriam Simon, your host, a leadership coach, author, speaker, a mom of three young adults, a grandma in my 40s, and a spouse to the most beautiful, kind soul on a mission to empower 1 million people to continue to tap into their exponential power. If you're out there building your own family and your own future from scratch, you're in the right place. Join me as we explore the stories, strategies, and secrets that can turn your hustle into legacy and peace of mind. Ready to transform your life? Let's get started. So, today we're going to talk about how to elevate fellow leaders and why is it important. So it's important to elevate fellow leaders because if you want to build momentum, you need to go as a group. And if you want to be heard when more than one person is talking or more than one person is doing it, then people are going to start to say, hey, maybe if this person is saying it and then the other person is saying it, maybe we need to start paying attention. And so I see a lot of times that women struggle with elevating fellow leaders, or some people just don't know how to elevate fellow leaders. And, a leader is different than a manager. And if you don't know that, please check. Leaders are people who are out there going first, and there is space for more than one leader. It's not just about one person being on top and the other people who are also leaders in their own space, right? For them not to be able to be there with you too. If they shine a light and you shine a light, imagine the bright light together. And so that's what I want to demonstrate to you here today, because we all have something special. We all have something unique that we bring to the table, and we all lead in different ways. And once you get to a certain level, you end up becoming a leader, or you can be a leader depending on your mission and what you're doing. I've become a leader in many different ways without even having title. And the most important part was just me believing in myself and me standing for something that was really important to me, that really helped me advocate for myself and speak up. Right. So today I'm going to talk about 5 different ways that you can elevate your fellow leaders. So the first one is raise awareness. So how do you raise awareness, right? If you're a person in a position of authority, you can reiterate why whatever this person is doing is important. Let's say you have a group, a team that you're working with. And let's say the project lead for the program, for the initiative, sends out an email asking for something to be done. And you're the senior executive, executive sponsor, or the person that is overseeing the project, right? You can simply elevate that person's authority by reiterating why it's important in that email, right? So I saw one senior executive who did this beautifully. She was the best executive sponsor, because anytime the project lead would send an email, she would follow it. And she wouldn't do this all the time, because she knew that if she did it, then people would people would take it like she was telling us to do it, right? But it wasn't that. She did it here and there sporadically to elevate the person's voice. And so she would add on to the email and say, oh, this is such a great way to get this done, or love that you're working on this. So everybody chime in or jump on this project right away. It's going to be great because of this or X, Y, and Z. And so that's a great way for you to be able to help somebody else, right? Especially if you're the executive sponsor, you're in a position of authority, you can go ahead and do that part. Another way is if you're a co-worker, right? These days we are collaborating all the way. We are working with different groups, we're working in different teams, and sometimes our managers and supervisors don't even see that we're working on these teams. And so what I like to do, and something that I've seen other people do too, is give praise to that person, right? You think about, oh, you know what? I worked on this project with this person and they did such an excellent job. This is the value add that they had. In many organizations nowadays, they have apps or locations where you can do shout outs. But if they don't have a location where you could give a shout out and it's seen by other employees, like give them visibility, right? You can talk about the specific accolades and specific value added that this person did that you noticed and recognized when they were working with you, when you were working with them. And so that's another way that you can raise awareness about that person and let other people know, hey, this person is a leader, this person is doing such a great job, this person adds value to the teams, this person is a great collaborator, is a great partner. And another part that I love to do, something that is just amazing, it really creates a great partnership. And number two is how you can elevate fellow leaders is partner with them on an initiative. So think about this. Do you complement each other? Is there a specific skill that you have that they don't have? And then if you collaborated on that initiative, it would really like create this magic. When you think about that, what could you both do together? That saying is two minds are better than one, right? And nowadays, like with diversity of thought, who doesn't want other people on their team? And instead of working on everything yourself and being the project lead, and you can be the co lead instead, that means that you can the different initiatives or the different the workload could be separate. One person does one thing, the other person does the other, and you come together. It does take some coordination, but if you can work well with somebody else, this is a great opportunity. And sometimes some people just don't have that visibility, but if you are that person who is the go-to and they say, hey, your senior executive or senior leader says, hey, I want you to work on this project. If you know somebody that can be of a value to this project that you know is the right person, instead of like getting them on your team and letting them do all the work, which something you could do is add them onto your team and ask them if maybe they would be willing to co-lead. And in that way, not only do you get visibility, but the other person gets visibility too. Gives other people awareness about them, gives them visibility, gives them an opportunity to be in the front of the project, maybe present to the executives. Maybe they get a chance to show a different side of themselves that they may not have the ability to do. And a lot of these projects, you have many different meetings and you need to talk about your project and give different status updates. And so when you do this, this is a perfect way that you can add somebody else and you can give them visibility and you work together and always give credit, where credit is due. Don't be those kind of people that take credit for other people's work. People don't like that. But what you really want to do is be able to shine together. What I've done with other people is we take turns or we'll talk, but we make sure if we only have 5 minutes, I go for 2 minutes and the other person goes for 2 minutes. And then, we have a closing or we alternate. If we know we're going to have a lot of different status updates, then we collaborate on that before the meetings. We have meetings before the meetings and we coordinate everything so that it doesn't look like one person is doing more than the other. The work as well, right? We know what we're good at. And it's always really important that whatever it is that you're working on, that the work is split in a way that works for both of you and that showcases both of your expertise. So that's another way that you can help elevate a fellow leader. Number three, create a role. So there are some places in our organization sometimes where we have this opportunity. So almost similar to like partnering with somebody where you're bringing them on to the project. This is where you can actually say, okay, this one, I'm not going to work on it yourself, but you could create a role. You could create a task force and you want this person to lead the team. Sometimes things happen around the world and then out of nowhere, we need to figure out how we're going to change and how we're going to go ahead and implement whatever is happening, right? So what we do, and a lot of times too, sometimes what happens is that if you have these like informal positions that are almost like volunteer roles or focus groups, think about how you can leverage those positions to create a role for more leaders to come up through the ranks. And like that, you can give more visibility to other people. We're coming up to a few years from now where people are going to be retiring. And so we need to ready these leaders now so that they can start preparing. We can start showcasing where they're good, showcasing their work and showcasing who the future leaders are in the different organizations. And you'd be surprised when you give an opportunity to somebody and you give them expectations, how they meet them and surpass them, actually. So sometimes you can create and I'm not talking about like when you have a specific head count and you know that you can't go beyond that. We work in a world after COVID where the budgets are staying the same or reducing the work to do more, right? But then we actually have more work, but less people to do it. So you think about how you become creative and think about these different ways in which you can create these roles that the person would be able to do their work, but also do something that's important to them, demonstrate impact in a different way. These are great ways to do them without having to create a brand new position where you need to add budget dollars to it. But just make sure that you're not overworking the employee and that you're not calling on the same person all the time. They may be afraid to tell you that they don't want to continue to do it, or they may not, you know, tell you that they're burnt out. But people tend to get burnt out if that's the same person that you're always calling. So there's always an opportunity to give somebody else. And if you look far enough, sometimes they're the ones that are like kind of raising their hands or showing up, giving you details, making recommendations, raising their hand during meetings. There's little subtle ways that you can find out who these people are that you can start to chime in, bring into the mix. So that's number 3, create a role. Number 4, this is where you start to invite them to share. You may have some meetings where you have people who are maybe a little quieter or who don't speak up all the time, but you recognize that they have a gift, or you recognize that when they do speak, it's impactful and it makes sense, or it's just something about that person that really like gives you that magic or has that secret sauce. And inviting them to share is a way where you can give them more visibility. Even if you're a person who knows about you don't even have to be like the lead on the team. They know something special about me, and then as long as it's not something confidential or anything that it's my business to tell. But if you're working on a project, or if you're working on something and they know something about it, or they've had experience with it and you know about it, sometimes you just have to invite them into the conversation, ask for their opinion, ask them to prepare insight before, and just say, hey, look, I'm thinking about this and I'm going to talk about this. And maybe you were talking about that, and maybe you could bring that into the conversation. So if I get an opportunity to speak, I'll invite you in, and then that person can also do the talking. So that's another way, especially for those people that are reserved or so-called reserved, or people who process differently, or who just take their time. They just need a few seconds, right? So there's also that 5-second rule. You count to 5, and what you do is you wait and give those people the opportunity to process what you asked, and then they can jump in. But these are the people that offer insight, and then you can invite them to share. So you can invite them even to a committee, you can invite them to a focus group, you can invite them to be part of a project. Then little by little, they start off participating in a small way, and then they build their confidence and build their momentum and start to say, oh yeah, this is really good, I can do this, I can do that. You build their confidence, and then out of nowhere, within a few months or a few years, you start to see them evolve into the great leaders that you knew they would always be. And then the last one that I want to talk about is refer them. When you have someone, you've used their services, or that they were really helpful, you start to say, oh, yes, you know what? I know somebody who can help you with that. Here, go call this person. Especially when you know people who are entrepreneurs, there's a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space. And what you can do is you can say, oh, yeah, I know the perfect person. Here, this is the person you can call. It's like when you're in school and your teachers are telling you, hey, you know what? Go speak to the social worker, go speak to the accounting teacher, go speak Business Leaders of America chair, go talk to the yearbook club teacher. They can help you with this or they can help you with that. Nowadays, there's all these kinds of people who are working. I love on social media to follow different people. And like I buy chocolate covered strawberries from somebody that I know that's from my hometown. So I can either pick it up or drop it off. And whoever asks me about it, like I can tell you who to go to. And even just going to like different pop up shops where you can go and meet them and you can buy flan and you can, like, the holidays are coming up, right? You could buy coquito and you say, oh, this is the person that I get. But if you have other stuff, right, like, oh, coaching, you can go to this person. Oh, yeah, this person specializes, in this kind of coaching or that kind of coaching. Maybe it's leadership coaching, maybe it's career coaching. These are the kind of referrals that you need to go to. And so then that's how you can elevate fellow leaders. You can say, yeah, I know a person who knows a person. And then you start to help them, they get business. And then you can also make sure that their person that is receiving the services that they need from somebody who can help them. And elevating fellow leaders is just something that is so important because nowadays it's more about us coming up together as opposed to me versus you. I love to be able to help other people and raise awareness. Like I mentioned before, partner up on an initiative, create a role if you can, if you have that ability. Sometimes you don't even realize the power you have. And by doing so and then showing that it works, out of nowhere, you can say, you know what? I can do another one and then another one. And as long as you're not burning people out, it really is helpful. And sometimes people are just waiting. They're really just waiting to find where they fit in or something that will help them, like spark that joy for them. And you just never know. Invite them to share. Sometimes they just need a little push to go ahead and do it. I remember one manager, she was like, you're not talking, something going on, or what's happening. I said, oh no, I was just giving the other person an opportunity to talk because I've done this before. And she was like, yeah, but you're not getting any credit during the meeting. So make sure that you're doing it. And I was like, oh, okay. So next time, I open my mouth. And then finally, if you have friends who are entrepreneurs or you have people that don't be afraid, don't be shy, refer them. Give referrals to help your community. It's really important that we unite as much as we can and we elevate fellow leaders. Thanks for tuning in to Latina Mic Drop. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're building something extraordinary together. If today's episode inspired you, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For one on one coaching and more resources, follow me on your favorite social media platforms at author Miriam Simon or visit my website at Miriam Simon Online. Until next time, keep turning your tattoos into pearls of wisdom and your dreams into reality. Stay strong, stay focused, and let's make history.